to first begin by recognizing the state officials and the federal official we have here. That Representative Walsh would be here, Representative Fennell would be here, as well as Congressman Taney. That's a great thing, and considering that this is our first class, that's a great honor. So thank you very, very much. Now, before I introduce the Congressman, I want to put a few things in context. These kids are 12 in number. The whole program is 50. The 12 kids got 60 acceptances. It's phenomenal. But perhaps at Boston Latin, the top 12 students also got something like that. But then, when the students got almost $3 million in scholarships, everything went out of proportion. This is not normal. This is probably it is very much within reason, within probability, that there is no group of 12 kids who got close to $3 million anywhere in the United States of America. That is phenomenal. Now, the good news is that they also got into tremendous colleges. But that's also something that I worry about. This program we have created step by step, and I'm worried about the next step. And that is, I remember when I went to college, and it wasn't at all like what I saw. And yes, I lost confidence. And yes, there were a lot of people who were smarter than I was. After, like you, I've been kind of smart in my high school. But there were people who just ran over me in their connections, in their bright way. And so, worried about that, I want to say that LABIDA doesn't close its doors to you. LABIDA, with your family, is going to give you extra resources. We're going to be there all 4 years if you need us. And we're going to have some great people to talk to. Now, I want to also say that I was so pleased that Wilma mentioned Jasenia, who was an intricate part of our program. Jasenia was there 24/7. She was a friend, she was an instructor, she was a mentor, she was somebody who had tremendous skills and a lot of knowledge. Luckily, we have hired, we were sorry to lose her, as you know. Luckily, we've hired a great person who's graduated from BU, a woman who is, Melissa, who is both from Peru and Ecuador, and we're looking forward to her coming on Monday. So this is somebody you're going to get to know as you call back and say, Aroko, help me, ayuda me. And I hope you do, and I hope we help you. Now, I'd like to introduce Congressman Taney. Congressman Taney, in his office, has been a tremendous help from the beginning to LABIDA. He is somebody who really gets it. He is somebody who is very powerful in education because he sits on the Education Committee of the House of Representatives. He's a good friend. He's going to stay a good friend. He's a good friend of mine, and I'd like to bring up now Congressman John Taney.
Thank you, Bob. Well, congratulations, everybody. You deserve to be every bit as proud as I think and I believe that you are on that. And I'm just thrilled to be up here. I'm listed on your program as the keynote speaker, which probably gets you a little concerned that I'm going to go on here forever. And I promise not to speak for very long, but I do have some things that I want to say. And I want to start by thanking Francis and Dave for the great job that they do, and I know you want to applaud them as well. Thank you. This is going to make you proud. And it's the first one through. And Bob Hildreth is absolutely right. We are friends, and we go back a ways, but you won't find a more humble man, a more unassuming man, who really puts his money and his heart and his time where his passions are. And his passions are on making opportunity available for other people, and then working at it and making sure that people exercise their own personal responsibility to capitalize on that opportunity and move forward. The fact that he stayed with this program, nurtured it all the way along, and is staying with it still is a credit to what he feels about all of you, for how you responded to that opportunity. And Bob, we want to thank you. It's a great thing for the community that you're doing here. And I didn't see, I've been here for about a half hour now, 40 minutes. I had not seen my old friend Chet Atkins. Chet, stand up. This is a great congressman, Chet Atkins, representing the 5th District of Massachusetts. He's much older than I am, though, because he was there before I was on that. Joe, I was talking, I went to each student, I got to find out where they were going to school. And first one that I talked to, Adrian was going to Bowdoin. And I was telling Adrian that when I was graduating from high school, it was my desire to go to Bowdoin College. Things would happen. And we really thought that this was something I wanted to do. You do all the things that people tell you to do, to study, get involved in extracurricular affairs, and do all of this work when you're in school. But in those days, we just simply couldn't afford it. I know a little something about being the first generation to go to school. I was the first one in my entire family to be able to go to college. But Bowdoin was where we thought I'd like to go, and we wanted to go there desperately, but we couldn't afford it. It was the grand sum of $4,000 at that time. And $4,000 was today's $40,000 or $50,000. And we couldn't do it, but we didn't have a LaVida to help us go through the process with guidance counselors and to identify schools and ways to get there and scholarships that you might pursue. But I did end up at Salem State College, which is a commitment from the community. The reason people can afford to go to public higher education is because everybody in this room and everybody in this Commonwealth decides that education is important. So they take some sliver of your tax money and they support those schools. So they keep the cost of fees and tuition down. And in those days, with a couple of jobs behind you, you could actually afford to go to school, and it would get out of there with so little debt that you could go on to graduate school if you wanted to and move on from there. What you have here is just community working in a different way. With LaVida, with your parents' commitment, with your community's commitment, you're doing the same thing. You're finding the resources to take on this dream that people have of getting a better education and moving forward. And I just know that you won't ever think that you did it on your own. Very few of us ever do. You remember what your parents did for you. You remember what Bob Hildreth and Francis and Dave and others have done for you, and this community as a whole have done for you. And you'll know that means that when it comes time to getting out of school, whatever you do, you have an obligation to provide that opportunity for other people. One of our graduates is going to Bentley, and that's a great school for accounting and for things of that nature. And I know that you're going to be in business, and you're also going to be a business major, I think you were saying. My question to them was, are you going to be a responsible business person? Are you going to have a social conscience? Or are you going to be a BP, or an Enron, or a Tyco? And I think you're all going to be responsible business people if you go into business with a social conscience, because you'll remember the obligation that you have to others that gave you the ability to be where you're going today. And you'll want to make money, and that's fine. And you'll want to have fun, and that's fine as well. But you want others to be able to have a good living and to have a good quality of life and to have good time as well. And so I think that's the important notion on that. This idea of having opportunity, that's part of it. The other part is your own personal responsibility. So you should be proud that you took that responsibility and you did something with it. There are a lot of people that aren't sitting here tonight because they missed up on that opportunity. They didn't have that special thing that each of you have about seizing the opportunity, making it with your personal responsibility, and doing it moving forward. And I think you should be proud and feel congratulatory towards yourself, but pride is a fleeting thing. That'll come and that'll go. But what you do with this opportunity will stay with you forever, and you go on, and maybe someday you'll have a chance to support somebody in a scholarship, or you'll have a chance to serve on a school committee, or to be a superintendent of schools, or a state legislator, or a national legislator, and affect education policy. And that policy hopefully will be a policy of keeping the doors of higher education open so that it's affordable and accessible and is meaningful, so that anybody in this country that wants to go and get an education can get it. John Kenneth Galbraith, some of you may know, is an economist that died in the last few years, but he was always somebody that talked about the good society and what the importance of education was. And he would say that, yes, it's an economic justification. It helps you make more money and helps you support yourself and your family. But just deep down, you cannot enjoy life if you don't have this education. You can never enjoy all the idiosyncrasies of life, the nuances, the art, the music, the history, the politics, anything that goes on will not be as enjoyable if you don't have an appreciation and understanding that education allows you to have. And make no mistake about it, before we had public schools and Horace Mann and all the others that opened the doors, generally, rich people always made sure their kids got an education. They got it early on, and they knew. And one of the great things about America and other countries that are coming along now, they get it too. And they understand that it ought not just to be for a select few, it ought to be to everybody, ought to have that opportunity. But the good point here tonight is congratulations for you to having the personal responsibility of seizing the opportunity. My wish for you, every one of you, is that you never let up. You keep having this perseverance, you keep having the personal responsibility, and you have the understanding that when you're going to do something great with the education that you get, and then we're all going to benefit from that. So congratulations to you and to your parents and your community, and Bob and Fran and Dave. Great job. Thank you very, very much.